You are working on multiple collabs, yay! You low-key want to be covered in tattoos and piercings. I have my moments. You get annoyed at YouTube commenters at times. What is up, guys? Welcome back. I promised you a more upbeat video this time because my last video ended in what a lot of you guys seem to completely understand as a very necessary rant about a very overpriced mascara. But today, we are going to be doing like a part 2 of the assumptions tag. And I saw Raw Beauty Christy do this recently, and I've seen a few other creators do a second installment of it. However, I will say, whenever I put these prompts up on my Instagram to ask you guys for your assumptions, this is not a complaint. You guys are so nice. You're so nice. You're just like, I assume that you would be a really good friend. And I'm just like, I mean, I'm not gonna dispute that. You're just so nice. It just doesn't make for very salacious content. If you're unfamiliar with this concept, essentially, you say, based on my content and what you've seen of me on the internet, because obviously you see about 1% of my life, what you assume that fills in the blanks. And then I can either confirm it or dispel it and explain why. So, let's go ahead and get started. The first one was seen by 1,182 sets of eyeballs. And the first one says, there's a fun story behind your name. So yeah, I think that when you're new here, I don't talk about it that much, but my name isn't actually Kackie, but that's not also a moniker that I gave myself for my YouTube channel. I've been Kackie my entire life, like before I was even, you know, self-aware. It was just a nickname that I got when I was a baby. My real name is Kevin, K-E-V-Y-N, and my last name starts with a C. And my sister, who is 13 months older than me, they tried to call me Casey, and my sister said Khaki, and they were like, that's great, let's do that. And so if that's a funny story to you, then yes, there's a funny story behind my name. Your Spotify account is so magic, one would listen and run through the fjords with grace. So if you haven't been watching my channel a long time, or if you're not in the live chats, the whole fjords thing has like taken on its own blurple fjords like life form at this point. My Spotify is all over the dang place. I will link it below so you guys can follow me, but I mean, it's everything from like college radio, like this extensive playlist of everything that I feel hits near and dear to my soul. Everything from that to like literally meditation and like massage therapy music that I use to like meditate or to take, you know, a bath or something like that, all the way to like lo-fi hip hop and stuff like that that I like to work to. And then I just also really love jazz, Christmas music year round, and somewhere in the middle there is Michael Bublé. Like, I have a secret that is not a secret anymore, a penchant for Michael Bublé. You're way more calm in real life than you are on camera. I would say I'm quiet more often. I do most of my talking when I'm on camera, but if I'm in a conversation with someone, if you were hanging out with me, this is exactly how I would be. There is no slowing down the way that I talk. Like, a lot of you guys are concerned sometimes in the comments. You're like, gosh, Kackie, you know, you could slow down. I mean, I get the same commentary from my family members. So it's just who I am. You're very intelligent. Thank you. I think that when little girls are coming of age, this is definitely like a very broad brush generalization, but we tend to be sure of at least one thing. It's either that you're pretty or that you're smart. For me, it was that I was smart. Like, no one could come to me and be like, you got this problem wrong on a math test, or you didn't know this answer on a history test, or you raised your hand and gave the wrong answer, and then they could say that means that you're not smart. For whatever reason, I always had just like innate confidence that I was like, okay, I got that question wrong, but I know I'm not dumb. You know, like, I've always known that I was smart. I've always known that when I applied myself, I could do pretty much anything I wanted to do, with the exception of chemistry and war history. Chemistry, I can't see it, and it's too abstract. And war history, I don't think that there should have ever been any wars. So like, I can't make myself interested in it. And I know that that's like a really like idealistic way of thinking of things, but I'm just explaining it from the standpoint of, I've had to look within to figure out why I can't retain war history, and that's why, is because my brain goes, this is dumb, why did this even happen? I know that's myopic, but that's why I can't retain it. Like, art history is fine, war history, meh. You tend to be the more dominant one in your relationship, and then a face. I love these. You guys are so cute. So, I would say that in past relationships that was definitely true, but I married the one I married because it's not true in this relationship. Mike and I are both alphas, like alphas. So I really think that that was one of the main things that I found really attractive about him from the very beginning, was that he didn't put me on a pedestal. He didn't blindly agree with me. He didn't just push over when I insisted about something. He would just step to me and he would call into question what I was saying. And even now, it's like if I get in a huff about something and I'm just so adamant or whatever, he doesn't hesitate to shoot something full of holes. And yes, one of us usually ends up wrong, but like, it's not an argument or a fight. It's just the fact that we are both like strong-willed and strong-minded. I don't even think we fight very often. It's just that we both are not, like, there's not one person in the relationship that has the role of being the dominant one. We're both really dominant. If and when you decide to have kids, you'll choose to have just one, haha, random. I don't know, actually. I think that, you know, yes, I value my independence, and so the idea of having kids at all is a complete mindset shift. But I think once I get to one and see, one might feel the same as two or three to me. Once I've crossed that threshold, it might feel like I want to have a soccer team of children. I just don't know yet, you know? I do know that I want one, but I'm also in this camp of, if for whatever reason my body says that I can't get pregnant, I am not gonna go all the extra measures to try and like make it happen, and I would never like adopt. Does that make sense? I have a really strange set of gymnastics that I've done about having kids in my head over the course of my life for reasons of my happiness or unhappiness in the way that I grew up. No reflection on like my parents or my upbringing necessarily, but just generally being a kid and how I think I would be as a parent to a kid like me. Those kinds of things. I'm not an overthinker, but I think about this kind of stuff a lot, and I understand the gravity of bringing another life into the universe. And so I just wanted to always make sure that I had all of the angles really deeply considered in my brain. And so that's why that kind of probably feels like a strange set of delineations. But yeah, that's a, you can get real deep on that. But yes, I want kids. It might be one, it might be zero, but if it's one, it also might be 5. I don't know. You know, I just need to get there and see. So this one says, you would never go to church, but would is in parentheses. So like, you never go to church / you would never go to church. So I think that, like, on my own accord, were it not, you know, to go to someone else's ceremony in their own hometown or something, you know, if I was in town with my husband's family for Christmas or something like that, outside of those kinds of specific circumstances, I wouldn't make time in my life to go to church. But it's not probably because of what you think. It's more that I'm not a joiner. Like, I don't seek community as much as some other people. So the same way that I don't love going to group workouts, I would prefer to do it myself. It's the same thing with seeking wisdom, which I think is what church is. I mean, it's just a certain type of seeking wisdom, and I just prefer to seek wisdom privately, I guess. You would never buy a bred dog only rescue. Absolutely. I'm not gonna sit here and wax poetic about this because there are plenty of people out there with the cutest pure breed dogs in the world, and like, I'm never going to tell you your dog is wrong for existing. I mean, my next door neighbors just got a golden retriever puppy that I helped take care of, and he's the cutest thing in the world. I only hope that they were bred responsibly and that they've, you know, always have a really happy, healthy life. But I also know that, and I hold the personal belief that breeding and keeping things as a pure breed goes against nature. I mean, so does fixing them for that matter. I mean, so does having them as pets. I guess you have to draw the line somewhere, but you know, once you get past the idea that yes, I want a dog to live in my house, I also want it to be a really healthy, happy dog that lives for a really long time. And you know, taking the Targaryen mindset of keeping a clean bloodline, like breeding a dog with another dog that it is like distantly related to, which is how these things end up happening to keep these like bloodlines pure. A lot of times you just end up making unhealthy dogs. So it's more about the dog's welfare to me, and also overpopulation and dogs getting put down and things like that. I just think that there are plenty of dogs out there to be adopted. And I know a lot of people have like breed preferences, but I got the cutest dog in the world from a shelter. So I don't know. Also, if you don't know this, there are certain breeds that literally can't procreate on their own, and like that hits me where it really hurts. I believe Frenchies are one of those. They can't actually procreate on their own because their hips are too narrow, and they also can't give live birth for that same reason. They've been bred to be such like an aesthetic thing that their hips are too small for like nature to run its course. So they have to be artificially inseminated and have C-sections. So I don't know, that's where I get hung up on the whole issue. That you are super fun and hilarious. I can be super fun. I can be hilarious. I can also be really intense and a lot. Gracie says, you would adopt me. I would adopt you, Gracie. An 18-year-old with her crap together and a career. Yeah, I'd love to skip to that point in the childhood journey. You are just holding out on us. You love neon green eyeshadow, but just haven't found clean ones that you love yet. Also that you're afraid of what we'll say. That's actually not true. I grapple with the performance versus cleanliness issue on a regular basis. Actually today, I like rebelled and I'm wearing the Becca Skin Love foundation. Where is it? I put this on my face today because it doesn't have any really bad ingredients in it, and I read this whole thing the other day that someone sent me that articulated all of my feelings that I've kind of talked about in the past about Sephora's whole self-regulation of their clean beauty seal, and how I think that it's kind of bogus, and that, you know, when they want to include a new brand in there, sometimes they'll just tweak the regulations by like percentages and things like that, while there are brands out there like Aether Beauty that are doing such a good job of saying clean, 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 and they just kind of get lumped together with the Tarts of the world. This is something I think about a lot, but no, there are not any neon green eyeshadows out there that I am like dabbling in off camera. That's still not something that I think looks good on me. And also, things that are out of bounds from the clean perspective, I value the health of my skin, and like that's what makes it such a struggle sometimes, is that, yeah, I would really love sometimes to go and buy the new like Charlotte Tilbury and just see how it looks, because I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful. I want to try the new reformulated Natasha Denona Foundation X because it was one of my favorite foundations before I went clean. But when I read the ingredients and there are fragrances or tons and tons and tons of like dimethicones and silicones and things like that, it just puts me off a little bit, especially because I have kind of hammered out such a niche with my brand that I feel like I'd almost be betraying you guys to some extent. Let me know if that's true though. I do, I have a lot of feelings about this. I assume you're good at breaking the ice in group settings and getting people talking and laughing. Actually, absolutely, to my detriment. I am that person who is the shock absorber for awkwardness in any situation. Sometimes literally it turns into like a huge embarrassing like flaying of myself before people. Sometimes if I don't coach myself before I go into group scenarios, I will just absolutely run off at the mouth until I want to crawl into a hole and die. So yes, all of that is true. I originally assumed you were a Pisces, but after searching all your social media, found you're an Aries. Yes, girl. Aries all day long. 100% that Aries. You would be perfectly happy taking the flying bus and living in Halloween Town year-round. I'm afraid I have not seen this movie. But I'm gonna say probably. It sounds fun. That you have a hard time sitting still. Yes, I do! I can't even watch a movie. It's too much. I assume that you are a fantastic cook. I'm a pretty good cook. I know how to make food taste good. I think that that's the main thing. It's not necessarily knowing a bunch of recipes or knowing a bunch of like international cuisines or anything like that. It's more about knowing an order of operations of how to make food hot to the right temperatures, come close to burning, deglaze, seasoned at the right times, those kinds of things that makes food that has the same ingredients taste better. I'll never forget when my husband first started kind of trying to teach himself how to cook. He's a phenomenal cook now, like better than I am at a lot of things. And it just goes to his ability to learn things when he applies himself. It's a little scary, like how quickly he can get really good at something. But I remember when he first started, and he's an Aquarian, he's a Pisces Aquarian. And so he just doesn't always apply himself to the like small details of things. And so he would read a recipe, he'd be like, yeah, I got the gist. And then he would put all the ingredients together. And then he served me a soup one time, it was like a chili, and it just tasted like the ingredients hot. because he hadn't taken the time to get things to the right temperatures to build flavor. And he just didn't think that the order mattered, and we all learned that very valuable lesson that day, that the order matters. And to that extent, I think that I'm a very confident cook when it comes to putting foods together in a way that will taste good. I have a pretty good sense of that. You like PSLs and blanket scarves. Hashtag basic. Sarah, are you trying to piss me off? No, I'm just kidding. I actually don't like PSLs. I've only had one PSL in my entire life, and I filmed it way back in the day. There is a video on my channel that's, I think it's just called Pumpkin Spice Latte. And it's me trying and rating the pumpkin spice latte, and I was not a fan. That you are ticked at the IRS. Yeah, earlier this week I was ticked at the IRS. The IRS just didn't look deeply enough into the details and decided to tell me I owed them $15,000 that I don't owe them. So yeah, I was a little ticked at the IRS, but I sat with that feeling. I mailed them a lot of information, but I've worked through that anger at this point. You are vegan. I'm not vegan. I am not. I eat a lot of meat. I have a lot of digestive issues, and meat is actually one of the things that agrees with me the best. I would love to be vegan. I was vegan in college. It has never made me feel particularly healthy. It makes me feel really, really sick and bloated because of all the fiber. So there's probably a way I could do it, but I've tried since then, and I just get sick every time. And then I go back to eating like meat and select vegetables and things like that, and my body just gets so much happier, so I just finally decided to listen. You are optimistic and have a pretty easygoing life because of that optimism. Yeah, well, I think that it's kind of like a constant push-pull of optimism and accomplishing goals. I think that that's kind of the beauty of starting your own business, is honestly overcoming that first big step of creating something out of nothing. Because as soon as you create something out of nothing, you realize that you can keep doing that. It really helps with optimism. Carefree soul! I would love to think of myself as a carefree soul. I am a reformed neurotic is what I am. The carefreeness has come from lots and lots and lots of practice. I was not born this way. You are working on multiple collabs. Yay! No, I'm not. I don't have any collabs. I am thinking of what it would take to fund my own makeup release. And it is in the completely primordial, like, brain goop stage of the process. I'm just kind of like, oh, makeup by me. Like, that's where I'm at right now. So in that sense, infinite collabs of imagination with myself. Whole Foods is your fave place to grocery shop. Whole Foods is from Austin, so we have the HQ here, and it is downtown in Austin. And if you've ever been to Austin, Texas, you know that going downtown if you don't have to is not advisable. It sucks. And also, the other Whole Foods locations are just not really near me, and so my favorite place to shop that kind of is halfway between the absolute all-out utter chaos of HEB and the kind of pretentious Whole Foods thing is Central Market. Central Market is the greatest. They have regular brands of things, they have organic brands of things, they have a very elaborate bulk section, they have Voluspot candles, they just have everything that I want, including organic Cheetos. Not actual brand Cheetos, but like organic cheese puffs, which have been a recent obsession of mine. So yeah, Central Market is my jam. I love that place. Everybody's really nice too. Oh, this is great. You drink celery juice every day and you're super healthy. I think a lot of you guys would probably be surprised by my diet because, yes, to the naked eye I look really healthy because, or my diet looks really healthy because by like compulsory requirements of my body, I can't eat gluten, I can't eat refined sugar, and I can't drink alcohol. I think that keeps me out of trouble in most cases. I mean, those are the three big things that would get me in trouble in the past, but they hurt me so much. From that standpoint, yeah, I'm really healthy, but from like the celery juice, I understand what you mean, but I actually eat a pretty low fiber diet. There are only a few vegetables that I can really eat, and I do eat vegetables every single day, but usually like my diet consists of something grain in the morning, a smoothie for like a really big smoothie for lunch, some kind of afternoon snack that lately has been like organic Cheetos. I do eat all organic now. Like I switched over because I've just been reading all these horror stories about Monsanto and I feel a lot better. I was sick for a long time, guys, like a couple of months. I was just like losing my mind. I was so sick. I switched to organic and things got a lot better. So yeah, Monsanto. I get real fired up about Monsanto. But my dinner is usually a protein and a vegetable. So last night we had chicken. You guys have watched me on my vlog channel make tons of chicken, and salad, you know, and I can do salad, I can do broccoli, I can do asparagus, I can do potatoes, those kinds of things. I can do tomatoes. A lot of people who have inflammatory issues can't do tomatoes. I can do tomatoes, and I can do dairy, you know, I can do dairy, I can do rice. There are a lot of things that don't bother my system, and sugar in small amounts can be okay. Like I had a bowl of ice cream last night and I didn't react, but like when I was in Europe, I gorged myself on French macarons and I thought I was gonna die. So, you know, it is this, I'm always kind of playing with the balance of it all because it really does have to do with amounts, but no, I'm not like this really, really like, you know, crunchy health nerd just because my stomach can't tolerate that much fiber and that many vegetables. Assume you always return your shopping cart in parking lots. You better. I do. I'm like religious about it, so that's a really funny assumption, but yes, absolutely. I see the people retrieving them in the 100-degree heat in Austin, and I just want to make their lives better. I do not want to be that person that they see being a dick, and so I just, yeah, I'm always polite about that. That you're 100% unapologetically yourself. Well, I've spent this entire week apologizing for being myself lately, but I've also been I got just absolutely dumped on with a bunch of really, really big issues in the beginning of this week. Just like an avalanche of stress from 10 different places. It was so crazy. It went from 0 to 1,000,000 in like an afternoon. And so there are times where I feel like when I'm of weak mind and I'm like low energy, I do spend a lot of my time apologizing because my reactions don't feel like they're even part of me, like it's a person that I don't recognize. But for the most part, I would like to think of myself as unapologetically myself. You get annoyed at YouTube commenters at times. Guys, ever since this question popped up, I have been thinking about it because my channel has recently, I feel like, and there's no way to really predict these things, but I feel like it has hit a level where the amount of comments combined with the DMs that I'm getting has become overwhelming. And when I say overwhelming, I don't mean I open it and I'm like, how am I ever gonna read all of these? I think the easiest way for me to explain it is that I have this mothering energy about my channel where I feel like it's not so much that I take critical comments personally and that I suddenly feel like someone's, you know, critiquing me and that hurts me on a deep level. It is so much more that I'm trying to protect my channel as a purely positive space for people who've been here for a long time and for new people, and that I feel like I need to constantly cull the comment section to make sure that it is purely positive. Even if it's, you know, lively discussions and things like that, I think that the comments that really get under my skin are the ones that start out, Kackie, I love you, I love your channel, but. Because then they go into something critical, and it's usually because that person had the insatiable need to feel right in that moment. And they used my comment section on my channel to do that. Because, like, for example, in my last video, I used a contour cream stick. I called it a bronzer in the beginning of the video. About 7 minutes in, I read the bottom of it and I say that it is a contour, but that I think it's a bronzer shade on my skin. Now, everyone who had not watched to that second point of mention decided to stop the video, leave a comment that said, you're wrong, maybe, Kackie, I love you, but you're wrong, it's not a bronzer, it's a contour. I spent $350 on makeup to make that video. I filmed for an hour and a half. I took pictures of myself wearing that makeup over the course of 2 days, and I edited it all down for a half-hour long video that I was hoping was going to be incredibly informative and helpful. But there are some people who watch a video like that and they say, ooh, 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 she's wrong, I'm right. And then they write that in the comment box. And I just have no patience for it, because that's just not what I'm doing here. I'm not here to be 100% right, but to me, that's not constructive criticism. That's, I didn't bother watching the whole video. I need the quick little saccharine to my veins satisfaction of being right at the expense of you being wrong. And then I'm just gonna go about my life and not finish watching your video. You might say you love me in the beginning of that comment, and then you leave that remark. That remark tells me you don't love me, you don't value my channel, you just want to feel right. I think that there are a lot of instances where people leave comments and they don't realize how they're being perceived, and that's where I get hung up. And I feel sometimes like it's my job to course correct that, like that I can correct the entire or retrain the entire comment culture, that we could all be better commenters in the whole of YouTube or something. And I kind of had to realize that, like, addressing it on a case-by-case basis like that, I don't have the power to do that. So I'm just taking a step back from responding to every single comment and every single DM. I really, 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 really value the people who consistently leave thought-provoking comments and who ask me questions that are super like engaging and relevant and make me think. I love growing with you guys. That's always been the theme of this channel. It's why I call you guys a family. I say, hey fam, what's up blush fam? Like, that's not just a word that I use. I do think of this as a family, and with that comes mutual respect. And so, yeah. I think that that's where I get hung up on the comments, is that I do get my feelings hurt sometimes when I feel disrespected and misunderstood. And what really needs to happen there, so that I don't disappoint myself by kind of overreacting, is to either just ignore them and just let the comment section be the comment section and kind of self-regulate, or just, you know, hide that user from channel.
Editing Kackie here, I realized that as I was on a roll talking in this video that I, missed a couple of things that I would have rather articulated. One is that I do also really appreciate people who just shower me with positivity. Like, that's, I should go without saying, but like, it doesn't. Like, it's, you guys are incredible, and 99.9% of you say the sweetest things in the entire world on my videos. So I don't want to just like make it all about the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The other thing that I want to say is I am really sorry, just blanket apology, for anybody who has undeservedly gotten like a snarky tone from me. That is completely my bad, because of the issues that I just kind of laid out, because it's gotten overwhelming, and because I do feel a responsibility to police my comment section. Sometimes I fly off the handle too quickly, and sometimes I try really hard to like make sure that I nip something in the bud too quickly, and I'll misread someone's comment or something, and that's so not fair to you. And that's why I'm kind of taking a little bit of a step back, is because I need to get a healthier mindset about this stuff, and I do need to give the right comments the right amount of attention.
That you smell bad, LOL, JK, love you, is my friend Cami. I smell bad. Love you, Cami. That you're obsessed with the zodiac and judge people based off their signs. Don't hate me. Why would I hate you, Anissa? No, I absolutely do. And I don't judge people. It's more so that I analyze them. In fact, I love guessing. So like the other day I was watching the Bon Appetit channel, and I was watching, Claire, the girl who does the gourmet makes, where she tries to take like fast food or like frozen meals or like junk food or whatever and recreate them gourmet. And you watch her work, and you know that she loves making everything really, really detailed and fastidious, and she gets impatient with certain things, but like she loves having a list, and she loves things being in order, and she loves when things work out. And I was like, she's an earth sign, I bet. And then I Googled it, and she was a Virgo, and I was like, I'm right. And that, to that extent, absolutely. I love psychoanalyzing people based on their zodiacs. Not their zodiac, their astrological sign is actually the way to, like, a zodiac is like the entire zodiac, but yes, based on your astrological sign, I do love kind of finding the common threads and the patterns. It's fun. That you're a major homebody and don't like to socialize much. Yep. You low-key want to be covered in tattoos and piercings. I have my moments, but at the end of the day, I'm a minimalist. I know that that's weird, but from my appearances standpoint, I'm a minimalist. And so I think that if I got a bunch of tattoos, I do have one tattoo, and I had one really big tattoo that I got removed, and they're both on my leg. And so that's sort of a lesson learned. I don't think I'm ever gonna get any more tattoos because I already paid over $3,000 to get one removed. I'll kind of learn, yeah. Has some coint, but works effing hard for it. So knows her value, but is down to earth. So basically hashtag goals. Miss Twiggy, you are so stinking cute. You're so cute. Thank you. That's such a good compliment. I have taken a lot of time and effort and pains in my life to unshackle myself from the money scarcity mindset that I grew up with. We weren't actually in like a money scarcity situation, but we had a money scarcity mindset, and that carried all the way through with me to adulthood. To that extent, you know, my money management has never been this thing where I'm just like, I have so much abundance that I just don't know what to do with it all. It's definitely been a project for me to figure out the right decisions along the way. But I will say I've been very lucky in the sense of having things come along at the right time, having the right people who were willing to trust me and support me at the right times. And when people do that, like when my mom paid for my cosmetology school, I felt an obligation to pay her back with effort, you know, show her that her investment mattered. And I've just always felt that kind of responsibility, and I think that that's just basically the meaning of a dollar, right? In a nutshell, and so I definitely know the meaning of a dollar. You are very strict with your diet. You don't eat a lot of sweets. You're amazing and I love your videos. Thank you. So I am pretty strict with my diet in the sense of staying away from my allergens that I talked about before. And no, I don't eat a lot of sweets unless I like make them myself with like coconut sugar or maple syrup or something like that. I do have a sweet tooth though, and it's really hard. Finding the little things that I can sort of supplement with, mainly almond date rolls. Like, game over. They're so good. If you can find almond date rolls in the date section of your grocery store, try them. They're like cookie dough. They're so good, and they're really good for you. And dates are an invert sugar. It's nature's blessing, guys. I just want to know where you buy your glasses. Okay, actually, so I just got new glasses. I got these, and they look almost identical to my previous glasses. These, which are a little too big for my face. Ugh, they're really nasty too. And they're both from Warby Parker. So they retired that frame. It was called the Batten Large, and it was a sunglasses frame that I had optical lenses put into. This is the, oh my goodness, it's so tiny, Raider frame. And I tried it on at the showroom here in Austin, and I was like, yep, easy, done. They're super shiny gold. They're really, really pretty, and they're actually like the right size for my face. The round ones that I wear all the time, I lost them. And I just got a new prescription, so I'm gonna order another pair of them, but lucky for you guys, they're from iBuyDirect. They're like, I think if you upgrade on all the lenses and everything, they're like a total of maybe $65, $85, something like that. They're very inexpensive. I really like glasses. I feel like if I have to wear them, I might as well use them to like express myself. I hate contacts. In fact, I think I'm allergic to them. But my vision's not so bad that I have to wear glasses like all day, every day. It's only when I really need to focus on something. So like I can do makeup because it's right here in front of my face, but driving or something, especially at night, I have astigmatism. So everything that's illuminated, like just looks crazy bonkers to me, and it like jumps around, and so glasses are really important for that. And because I have astigmatism, and because I have such like a weak prescription that's mainly just correcting astigmatism, contacts don't really help. They're just infuriating, and they make my eyes just constantly purge like these little, like long stringy boogers. It's miserable. So I've tried 3 different brands, and they all do it. You make good use of all hours of your day. You're super productive. Yes, but I have recently made a conscious effort to sit still more and do things that are categorically unproductive. When I was a kid, I was kind of OCD. I think a lot of kids kind of struggle with that, like step counting and like whether or not you do something with your right or your left hand or something like that, and it having to do with luck or obsession or whatever, and just, you know, the way things, you think you have control over the way things are going to turn out based on these weird obsessive, I mean, it's OCD, right? And I worked myself out of that as a kid because it made me crazy. It made me crazy. I worked myself out of it by intentionally doing things wrong. intentionally going against that grain of what my brain wanted to do for control and being like, you want the right hand because the left hand's bad luck? We're gonna open that door with the left hand, which sounds crazy, but I was like 10, you know? And I remember that so distinctly, and I honestly feel like that's what I have had to do with my productivity, is in order to allow myself to like heal and take a breath every once in a while, is to do it because it feels wrong. Because I have to counteract that just like constant Energizer bunny in my brain that's like, you haven't done enough today. I'm like, I'm gonna sit on my bed with my cat and I'm gonna watch the British Baking Show or the Kardashians, like things that are just like actively unproductive because I just need to unscrew that part of my brain a little for survival. You are so pretty and lean. I bet you could eat anything you like and not gain weight. So weight gain is weird because I am recovered from an eating disorder. So like, don't model your life after the way that I think about food, because I will never fully be able to have a totally intuitive eating approach. I always in the back of my mind am fighting a little voice that's telling me I don't deserve to eat. So, you know, like that's easy for me to talk about now because I'm completely on the other side of it. But when it's happening to you, you think you're right and the rest of the world is wrong. Saying I can eat anything that I want is hard because wanting something is something my brain doesn't even really know how to do. Thank you for the pretty comment. I think we're all really beautiful. I think that we all have to kind of embrace our own beauty. I think confidence is the most beautiful thing in the world. I don't have like what, most people would consider to be this like, classically beautiful, face proportion or something like that. But you just learn to appreciate the cool uniqueness of the way that you look, and I feel like that radiates from anybody, You detest adult animation television like Family Guy, Simpsons, Archer, and Rick and Morty. Ooh, I don't really watch it that often because it's just not something that's part of my routine necessarily, but man, I don't know, I think The Simpsons is hilarious. I think Bob's Burgers is up there in one of the funniest shows of all time. I've never watched Rick and Morty. Family Guy, I had a phase in college. I think I do think that what's his face that writes the show is really funny. I also really loved Daria as a kid, like Warship Dead. You secretly love your fur babies more than Mike. How dare you? It's a different kind of love, okay? Random viewer doesn't see Mike in videos or vlogs, thinks that you kicked Mike out. Okay, so my husband is a wonderful, handsome, friendly, just intelligent, lovely man who does not want to be on camera ever. So he's just not in my videos. He has no interest. He adamantly does not want his face on the internet. And so he just doesn't want to be on camera. You'll catch me every once in a while in a vlog, I'll get him, and it's become kind of a meme because as soon as I put the camera on him, he'll take whatever he has in his hands and throw it over his face. He just doesn't like it. It makes him squirm inside, and so I don't make him be on camera. You really force Mike to sleep upstairs and say it's because the animals wake him up. Think what you want. But I don't force Mike to sleep upstairs. I wish he wouldn't, because it would keep my guest room a lot nicer. You won't shop at Goodwill. Man, when I was in college, college and high school, I shopped at Goodwill a lot. I was just like an indie kid, I just wanted everything to look kind of worn in and battered and like cool and like I don't care. And, that sort of drifted into the whole like American Apparel, dress ironically, like hipster thing. But I have no objection to it. In fact, Goodwill is way better than like the thrift stores here in Austin where they're going to charge you $35 for a really cool t-shirt. I wouldn't necessarily shop there for like shoes, because used shoes kind of gross me out. It's just a personal thing. But anything that I can wash, yeah, I would shop at Goodwill. I don't really, as a rule. Mainly because the thrift stores have all come and picked over Goodwill so much. It's like a business here. So our Goodwills aren't that great. That you always had good skin. Then I learned about your skin history the more I watched your videos. I used to have real bad skin. Most of it had to do with picking though. I will absolutely admit it was almost entirely self-inflicted. I definitely started getting acne when I was like 11, and I would get kind of cystic acne because I was using just the wrong products for it. This is a tale as old as time, But at that age, when I was, 11, that would have put it at like, the year 1999, 1998, something like that. We all thought that oil was evil and that we needed to just like Stridex and Clearasil and Noxzema all the oil off of our faces in order to fix acne. And lo and behold, it is not the answer. And I ended up with horrible, horrible skin, but I also picked at it all the time, like all the time, couldn't leave anything alone. And that went all the way into adulthood. So I have a whole video on that. It's called How I Stopped Picking My Skin. I would definitely recommend that if you are also suffering with a skin picking issue. But that is what I attribute, that and changing over to things that are actually tailored for my skin. And that's what I attribute my skin to now. You have to be right when in a debate, and don't back down until the other person agrees with you. I hate arguing. I hate arguing. And there are a few times where I'll get really heated if I really, really care about something. And that's usually because I feel like something's unfair, not because someone's wrong, if that makes sense. Like at work recently, someone was changing something that I had done for a very good reason, I felt like, and I would argue with that person and passionately, because I really felt like there was a reason that I did that, and I wanted them to hear me out. But that's different from like when I met Mike. He had gone to Dartmouth, and I think they teach them some kind of like Socratic debate skills or something, because he would just argue for sport. I hate that. It drives me crazy. Like, he will sit there and take whatever the opposition is. He won't do it anymore, but like not with me. But he would have a conversation one day where he would argue with me on one point, and then the next day I would agree with his point from the day before, and he'd flip and take the oppositional view just to argue with me. And I was like, you're making me crazy. Do you even care about this? And he's like, no, I'm just kind of spinning my wheels. I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I'm not going to be your opponent for that. I hate arguing. And so in a debate, I actually just walk away. Like if someone really wants to like sink their teeth in and like dig in and just really, I will just walk away. It's really not worth my time. I will hang up the phone. You get vulnerability hangovers after filming videos and crash for the rest of the day. Vulnerability hangovers are real, but they really don't happen from filming necessarily, because I know I can edit myself. They happen more from actual online interaction and face-to-face interaction, because I am so open, but I also don't get that many opportunities to interact with people in person as much as, a lot of other people. I don't like go to an office for work or anything. So when I do, like I was talking about a minute ago, like get into a really like heated debate with someone at work about something, and I realized how much I cared about it and maybe how I was perceived as being really emotional about something, I will get a vulnerability hangover from that and just be like, God, why am I like this? Like, why can't I just like pump the brakes? But not really from filming. Your favorite pet is Purr Monster. Yep. World's greatest cat, world's greatest cat, world's greatest cat. I have 3 pets, and my favorite one is Purr Monster. Sorry, Ollie. Not sorry, Bruce. You want to move to another country one day? I would love to. For the wine, because I don't drink now, but man, the wine in Europe makes sense. It just makes sense, and I think it's the pesticides. I know I'm coming off as a conspiracy theorist right now, but I've done a lot of research into this. Also, I just think that, like, Italy is so beautiful, and the food is so good, and I also really love Amsterdam. But I don't know, with all of our animals in tow and our family being here, I don't know if we would ever do it like for any really long-term amount of time, but I would love to. I'd love to. I love Europe. You would never meet a subscriber for coffee or tea. Don't take it personally. I mean, this isn't like no one's ever asked me to, but I didn't even meet my estranged cousin for coffee because I was like too socially anxious. So that's outside of my realm of comfort, just because of who I am, not because of who you are. It's not you, it's me. I assume you're an extroverted introvert and need a lot of home time to feel balanced. Yes. Even if I could give you Tati's number of subscribers, you'd still want to find a way to be niche. Yeah, I think that comes from being like, an indie kid, like coming up in life. When you get rejected by the mainstream and you have to go and be anti for so long, you do have a certain part of you that still wants to like carry that torch for the weirdos. And I think I'll always be carrying the torch for the weirdos on my channel, because at the end of the day, I am never going to be 100% mainstream, because it's not who I am, and they didn't accept me, and they don't deserve me. I don't know, sometimes that's just how I feel. I do think that like clean beauty places me outside the mainstream anyway, and that wasn't really my intention for going in that direction, but I do feel like I have a certain representation for the weirdos, and I take a lot of pride in that as a card-carrying weirdo. You get sensory overload in places with high energy. Strikadelic, you got me nailed. So, yeah, yes, I do. I went to a wedding that was my in-laws, like close, almost family member, and was so inundated with everything that was going on that I literally just had to leave and go sit outside. And his mother was, my mother-in-law was just so confused. She wanted to fix it so badly. She's like, can I get you a drink? Like what? And I was like, I just need to be by myself right now. I just can't do this right now. And I was sober. Like I just couldn't do it. And there's just times in my life where I just can't do that. I think you're an all or nothing kind of person. Cause I want it all or nothing at all. I have trouble with middle ground, yeah. I have trouble with gray. I definitely have mantras for myself around things like, you're allowed to feel more than one way, Kackie, you know, and I'm just like, oh, thanks, Kackie, you know, for the reassurance. Because I definitely feel like the content on my channel is more valuable when I have strong opinions about things one way or the other. I also am the kind of person who, like, when I'm wronged by a friend, I write them off entirely. Like, I'm the kind of person who, in order to, like, protect myself emotionally, I don't forgive people very often, which is not healthy, but yeah, I just thought about the other side of that, like the other option of like forgiving people and going down that road. I just imagined that for a second, and it's not possible. So you're an Aquarius rising? Let's talk about your birth chart. So I'm not an Aquarius rising, I'm actually a Cancer rising. So I have all of those deep, watery, feelsy qualities right at the surface, which is why I'm so like laid bare vulnerable most of the time. Like I'm really, really confident, but I'm also extremely vulnerable. That's the like Aries Cancer thing happening. And then my moon is in Gemini. So that's where the air sign is. And that has to do with my like emotional self. And that's, oh boy, that's like a regular game of Pong going on in my brain all the time. I'm just like this or that or this or that. And I'm constantly just like entertaining other entire fields of reality in my brain of like, well, what if this had happened? And then this would be this new like, I really do believe in like the string theory, and it just lives in my brain at all times. It's something that I used to try and suppress, and it took away my ability to handle so many other parts of my life that I just had to let it run amok. If I don't let my brain just like spin free on fantasies, then like I'd squash all of my creativity. You wear exclusively, this is the last question, you wear exclusively flat, comfy type shoes. How did you know? I think it has to do A, with living in Austin, but B, just the fact that if I buy a pair of heels, I will always pick the pair of sneakers or the pair of flip-flops in my closet over that. Like on a day-by-day, decision-by-decision basis, I'm always going to go for the comfortable flat shoes. I think it's also because I'm tall. I'm 5'8", and so I don't really feel the need to wear heels because they feel othering. I suddenly feel much larger than everyone else, and I don't like it. And they're also, I feel like Austin is so terminally casual. Like when I went to Europe and I just like got hooked on all of this really cool fashion that everybody was wearing, even their sneakers, they had really cool high-end sneakers. And then I was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, buy all this cool stuff when I get back, and I'm gonna like, you know, take all these like fashion cues back with me. And then I get off the plane in Austin and I see everybody just schlubbing around in their sweats, and I'm like, home! And I just forgot about all of it, because there's just not a whole lot of reason to wear something fashionable that's uncomfortable in Austin. Like even if you're like a multi-millionaire, billionaire CEO, there's no dress code at restaurants here or anything like that, because you can't recognize someone who's rich by how they dress. The fashion here just doesn't really take itself very seriously. So that was fun. That was really fun. I'm really like, I don't know, that was just a very uplifting assumptions tag. I think you guys have honestly a pretty good idea of me. To be honest, I am so transparent on my channel. I feel like there isn't a lot that I hide from you guys. So thank you for asking some really cool questions or assumptions or whatever you want to call it. And thank you guys for being just the cool, sweet, engaged, interesting, compelling audience that you are. I appreciate you guys every single day. That is where I leave you guys today. I know this was an insanely long video. Thank you for watching, even if you had to watch it at double time. I love you so much, guys. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. If you are new here and this was the first video that you watched, I don't know, I'm sorry? Like, I'm honestly almost kind of sorry that this was the first video you watched because it's so long. But thank you for watching, and consider subscribing while you're here. We have a lot of fun. It is a very positive community, so I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.